Welcome to the Cinefied podcast. This is the show where you come and watch us rant about things such as the Mandalorian Grogu. I don't know that. I'm just predicting the future, and and I am very happy to have several of our writers here with us. I have Joe, Josh, and Peter. How you guys doing today? Good.
Force is strong with us.
Well, that's good to hear because it's not strong with the box office. Um, So I feel like I should just be very straightforward with whoever's listening. I did not get a chance to see this film in theaters. I have not seen beyond the first episode of The Mandalorian, so I have not really had any interest in seeing this. I did have an idea to go into the theater and see it, but based on the lackluster reactions thus far, I feel like maybe I should watch the show first and then maybe watch this when it comes to digital. But I'm just here moderating, and I feel like we should start this off with history of our love of Star Wars. And I'm going to exclude myself from that conversation because I'm not a part of the whole, conversation here. So, Joe, let's start with you. What is the history of Star Wars for you? Like, do you love the series? When did you get into it? Let's just go.
Yeah, no, I love all three Star Wars movies. They are great. I saw Star Wars. I was a wee little lad in 1977. My parents went out and saw it. If it wasn't opening weekend, it was a weekend shortly after, and they kind of saw it by mistake. I think they wanted to go see something else. Got it, to the theater at a different time or something and said, "Hey, let's go see the Star Wars movie," and weren't expecting much and walked out. Were blown away, and they said, "We need to take our little kindergartner to go see this movie." But by the time we did it, that's when there were lines and queues out the corner and around the theater. But no, so I was a little Gen Xer. For all three of the original movies, and I still hold those movies in high regard.
And what about the following films, or do you just not speak of them?
Yeah, the prequels have their own charm. There are good elements of it. There are bad elements of it. But overall, the prequels are what they are. The sequels, a little less regard for. Just all three of them are extremely uneven. The outlier, of course, of it all is Rogue One. Rogue One really fits in, I think, with the majesty and with the theme of the original trilogy.
No, that's a great answer. Now we know a little bit more going into Mandalorian Grogu of how you feel about Star Wars as a whole. Josh, go ahead with how you feel about Star Wars.
I would need like a whole separate podcast to talk about how much I love Star Wars. I love all eight of the movies, Joe. I can't wait until they make nine. I'm really excited to see episode nine whenever they get to it. Anyway, um, no, like I always say, Star Wars is like pizza. Like even shitty pizza is good pizza. So even shitty Star Wars is something. Um, I grew up, we had the OT on VHS. I wore them out. Um, I vividly remember going to the Glen Burnie, which is near Baltimore Mall, on opening night of the Phantom Menace. And I was in my like very early 20s. We were sarcastic as shit. We were gonna go make fun of the people in like Yoda costumes and go laugh at them. And we walked up to the box office and said, "Oh, hey, when's the next available seat? Like, you know, 4 months from now?" And they said, "Oh, we have a 6:30." And we went, "I'll take two, please," and walked in, and we're just fucking gobsmacked and fell in love all over again. And um, I felt like that with The Force Awakens. It was so long between movies. I loved that movie. I loved how challenging and weird Last Jedi was. Um, Nine was a piece of shit. Oh well. I think Rogue One is overhyped personally. But I've watched all the TV shows. Andor is the huge standout for me. Um, Book of Boba Fett was the low point. I'm a big time acolyte defender. I like that show because I thought it went in new and interesting different places. But I like Star Wars. All that is to say that I like Star Wars a lot. I was not terribly excited for this movie, and we'll get into that later, I'm sure.
All right. And Peter, what about you? What's your history of Star Wars?
So I've probably grown out of love with Star Wars, considering where I started. Like I was the same, like the original trilogy. Like owned the VHSs as a kid. I think at one point McDonald's here, like if you bought a meal, like they gave you like a VHS of Star Wars. So I remember we bought like we got them because they
That's
were in
pretty
like the
rad.
special. They were in like the special packaging and everything. So yeah, we had the original trilogy. We had like toys, merchandise. Like we were like me and my brother were like big Star Wars fans. And then like we saw the original trilogy in the theaters when they re-released them because yeah, I wasn't alive when they first came out. But then like when the prequels came out, like I was like 15 when Phantom Menace was released, and it was like, you know, oh my god, like let's go see those movies. And then obviously they, yeah, like they did what they needed to do, I guess. Like they're probably films that like as a 15-year-old you think they're the coolest thing ever, and then you sort of rewatch them and you just go, okay, like they were, yeah, there's a reason why we hated Jar Jar Binks so much. And Hayden Christensen, you're just like, really? The sand line, that's what you're gonna go with? Cool. So and then the sequels, like, yeah, I think I just saw them I went to a midnight screening of one of them, but I feel like I started just watching them out of like necessity more than actually wanting to go. So when it came to Mandalorian and Grogu, like yeah, I've seen the films, like obviously like Solo and Rogue One and everything, but I haven't watched anything like any of the shows. I was like, I just stopped really caring as much. So I went into this film being like, okay, I haven't watched the show. Maybe this film will be one of those movies where if you've seen the show, great. If you haven't seen the show, it'll still be something you can enjoy. Like, have they made this for that? And as we'll talk about it, no, they have not.
Well,
I can't believe you
I
watched this without watching the show. That's amazing. I can't wait to hear more.
you went through what I decided not to, so because I'm in the same boat.
Well,
All right.
I also knew that if I didn't like, because obviously, like Disney invited me, I was like, if I don't accept this Disney invite, I was like, I know that I won't go out on my own to see it. I won't have I just won't have the desire, I won't have the push. I don't know if I'll have the time. So I was like, it's either now or never as well. So
Mm.
that's
I
kind
get
of
that.
why I was like, let's go. Yeah.
So when it comes to let's just kind of go a few years back because a lot of people are saying, "Hey, it's been 7 years since the last Star Wars,"
Yeah.
and that film definitely. I personally, like I said, I'm not diving too deep into my history, but I personally never watched Episode 9. I watched. I love Force Awakens. Like I thought it was a fantastic experience. Watched Last Jedi. I thought it was kooky and weird, and I didn't appreciate it at the time. I've grown to appreciate it, but then I've never had interest in watching the last one because people, in a manner of speaking, shit on it. So I'm just like, why would I
Yeah.
watch it? Like, so, but when The Mandalorian came out, it had so much hype around it that I did have an interest in it, but I was just not like that into like, oh, I have to invest so much time into these shows. Like that was like they nowadays there's so many shows out that you have to invest so much time into, and you can say this thing of Marvel too. Like there's so many shows, and they say, oh, you have to watch all those shows to know what's going on in the movie, but this is literally a movie that you have to pretty much watch the show to have appreciation for the movie at all. Like there's no chance. Like Peter like can probably like I'm sure. And I'm wondering because as I went over, I have not seen Mandalorian. Did you care for season one of the Mandalorian? Did you think that brought back the magic of The Mandalorian. This is directed at Joe and Josh. And obviously, there's people that think that as the seasons went on, they went down in quality. But as far as the first season, do you think it brought back that like childhood like wonder of the first couple Star Warses?
Yeah, season one of The Mandalorian did something that really was unique in that it expanded the Star Wars universe. This wasn't cute little Ewoks. It wasn't, Jedi Knights
How
doing,
dare you, Joe?
super. No, no, no. The Ewoks are great. I'm just
Okay,
saying that The Mandalorian had a different theme, right? It was a Sergio Leone Western. It was a reenactment of Lone Wolf and Cub. It was not Star Wars. It was something a little different. It was rough. It was gritty, and it showed this corner of the universe that existed alongside the cute Ewoks and existed alongside the Jedi Knights that did all these incredible tricks. So that first season of The Mandalorian was something special. Season two, it just got a little bogged down with some of the mythology and some of the characters that they brought in from other cartoons, Rebels and the Clone Wars series. And then season three was just, I thought, just highly uneven, just really getting goofy, getting silly. But I thought season three had a great ending.
I don't remember how it ended.
It
That's how
ended
much.
with pretty well after they had to chew bubblegum and kick ass and take names.
Yeah,
That Mando more or less said that's it. I'm done.
right.
He helped rebuild the Mandalorians. They now have their own little planet with Apollo Creed, and he and Grogu went off to just kind of be father and son and have their own house and have their own little adventures. And I thought it had a neat little bow that they tied on. They said, "Hey, we
Yeah.
gave this warrior, we gave this this cowboy bounty hunter, or this Ronin samurai a little piece." So I liked how season three ended.
Yeah, I remember really liking season one when it came out, but I'm such a Star Wars. I'll watch anything Star Wars just to do it. Um, the Vision show on Disney, I think, is a lot of fun. Um, but also, it it kind of is a little emblematic of my problem with Star Wars right now, in that we get these middle chapters. Like we have these three trilogies that cover this period of time, and rather than go over here or over here into the
Mhm.
past or in the future, we're just messing around in the middle. And
Yeah,
we can't stop messing around in the middle. And I'm getting really tired of it. And that's part of what got me with the movie. The other thing that,
and really quick, Josh, it's the same thing with Star Trek. That
yeah,
they don't want to go there. They keep messing with that middle. But anyway, not to.
I don't understand. And the other thing is like lightsabers to me are such a big part of the Star Wars charm. And Andor is so good that it completely disregards that and
Yeah,
ignores it, only because it is incredibly well written and
yeah,
directed and performed and cast and costumed and all that. But like,
agreed.
even with the tiny little baby Yoda who knows the Force and sometimes has a lightsaber, or there's a dark saber and all that shit, without the Sith and the Jedi, I'm left a little cold.
Mm,
So
hmm.
it's the first season was well done.
Yeah.
The theme song is a bop.
Oh,
Um, but
yeah. I mean, actually having Luke Skywalker appear, right? That season one finale.
that
I
was
mean,
two. That was two. That was
was that the
season
end of
two.
season two where he
Yep.
appeared?
And that came out on my birthday. That last episode came out on my birthday, and I remember like sitting in my bedroom with my girlfriend, like kind of crying a little bit because like
Oh, I
Luke
had I had
Skywalker's on
I had
screen.
goose flesh. I thought
Yeah,
that was
100%.
so masterfully done. That they were able to
Yeah.
mix that in. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Season
that was
two
the
was
end of
so
season two.
long ago because then we had the Book of Boba Fett that was kind of
Oh, that's
season
right.
2.5, and then we had season three, and now we have this shitty
Yeah.
movie.
Well, so as I mean, it doesn't sound like you said that season three is uneven, but it doesn't sound like
Mhm.
you hate season three by any means.
No, no, I do not. Just yeah, it's kind of like kind of like the sequels and even maybe the prequels, right? It just started, imploding slightly, right? It was a lot more focus on Grogu being cute. It wasn't.
He is cute.
Oh, Grogu is cute, but I mean, hey, but it was the camera, and the movie does the same thing, which we'll talk about. The movie wants to play up like, hey, remember, got this cute little guy here. Let's focus on the cuteness and not focus, more on the overarching story. There was that episode with Jack Black that was
Oh my
it was a
God.
silly, it was a
And
silly.
Lizzo, Jack Black and Lizzo.
Yes,
I
that's
don't, I
right.
don't even know that I knew that happened.
Yeah.
So,
So it was like, it's like, hey, we're gonna bring in the silly guest star episode,
Yeah.
as opposed to really,
is it
focusing
kind of
on
like
that overall narrative.
It
is
was
it
the
kind of like
Simpsons
Ed
Spooky
Sheeran
episode.
and Game of Thrones
A
cameo?
little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
So, but so basically as you're saying, it's an uneven type season. What do you think from when season 3 ended to now with the Mandalorian Grogu? Because this takes place right after season 3, or do they even
Kind of.
explain how far off it is from the ending of season
It's
3?
a little time after,
Okay.
it's I don't think it takes place a heartbeat after, but it's not like 10 years later either. It's the next story.
So what do you think went wrong here? Like as far as from point A at season 1 to now, basically point D, where did we go wrong? Where did Dave Filoni and John Favreau go wrong with this series?
I,
Or I guess not series, movie now, but what happened?
yeah, I don't know what the character's doing at this point. Like, he's part of this very you know, fundamentalist sect of Mandalorians who can't ever take the helmet off in front of everybody. Um, I don't know that there's been a ton of growth to justify 3.5 seasons in a film compared to where we saw the character when it started. And Grogu too, we get him in the first episode of season one. He can use the Force. He's been able to use the Force. He's still cute as shit. He still hasn't talked. He hasn't really progressed. I mean, in the movie, literally from beginning to end of this film, these characters are just where they are from start to finish. There is zero movement, character growth, plot development. The only thing that you even get different at the end of the film is a shitty, jacked, muscular Hut is now fighting with the rebellion. And great, we've seen the sequel trilogy and we know he's not in any of those movies. So who cares? It's really weird. Like we keep building up these middle chapters that we've already seen the end of.
Well, I was watching actually Red Letter Media did a review coverage for this film, and they were saying that they believe that this character, this Hut character, is in Clone Wars.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. He's a baby.
so, yeah,
He's an
like a little
obnoxious
kid.
little high pitched voice. Like
So it's not
so
like they
annoying.
created it out of nowhere, but they were talking about how Filoni seems to just like to pull, like he wants to tie every little piece
Yeah.
together. He wants to be like, none of this is Grogu, but is in sort of an original thing. Obviously, it's a play on
Yeah.
the species that Yoda is, but yeah, it's very interesting to me that it's just like because I did think I'm like, oh, I never watched the Clone Wars. I have no idea that this character existed, and then when I read your review, Josh, which you can check out his full thoughts on Cinefied.com, I was like, so he's a muscular Jabba the Hutt, which sounds the most bizarre thing with no reference point. Peter, as a fan of Star Wars, and you see that this character is a relative of Jabba the Hutt, is it a little off-putting that if it is true what Josh said that he is a very fit individual with like a six-pack or something? Is that true?
It's like obviously like because you see other like there are other fat huts in this film. That
Okay.
sounds it's such a weird sentence to say, but yeah, there are these other
I,
and then we get Jeremy Allen White, who you just like. It doesn't matter that it's him because it doesn't really sound like him. Like you just go okay, and yeah, I guess he's buff for a hut. I guess, like he's got He's like, I guess like you could say he's like almost like a T-Rex. Like his arms are really short, and he's like just sort of I don't know. It's weird. Like and it's always like, did we make it Jeremy Allen White because he's got this whole thing where people are like, what, the guy from The Bear is jacked? Like, is that why we're making him a jacked hut? Because it didn't make, I don't know. It was just weird. Like, it's weird. And because I also don't like, obviously I know of certain characters, but I also don't know like the characters in this film. I'm not sure where in TV shows they've popped up or anything like, you know, and I'm like, it was just this was a very interesting experience as someone who had just seen 9 Star Wars films, loves the original trilogy, and doesn't really remember much about the last ones. And yeah, like it was.
What was your reaction to hearing him speak English?
Well, because that was the other thing. I was like, you know, we're so used to like not hearing them speak English. So again, is this purely just because you've got Jeremy Allen White and you didn't want to make him speak another dialect? Like it's like this is like, it's weird to say stunt casting because Jeremy Allen White isn't really like on that level of being a celebrity
He's not
who's like,
Brad
we've got
Pitt.
stunt casting. But
Martin Scorsese.
yeah. Oh my god. I'm not gonna lie. When like I didn't know Martin Scorsese voiced a character in this film. So when that first line happened, I thought it was Ki Kwan Han, like
Ki Kwan.
Ki Kwan.
Yeah.
I thought that's who it was because it had a very
Yeah, I could see that. The
Yeah.
tone and the delivery.
yeah. And then then my mate was like, "It's Martin Scorsese," and I was like, "What?" And then I heard it again and went, "Oh, of course it is." Like, of course it's Martin Scorsese. And that's wild to me that we've got him in this. And then once you know it's Martin Scorsese, the way like his mannerisms, you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I can fully see you just standing there doing that."
Yeah.
Is he in more than just the shot in the trailer? Because
No, he
it's like
actually has like he's
Yes.
got like
two scenes. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
But
Yeah.
like not like, but also not like he's like, you know, changing the trajectory of this film.
No, the only reason that's fun is because he shit on these kind of movies.
Yeah.
To have him in one.
And then
kind
it's
of
like
two.
and then you go, oh, and
Wait,
then you've made those
He's in a
comments.
bad one. I know.
This is the
Yeah.
movie, like this is the Star Wars movie you decide to be in. This isn't going to change. Like not like this. No one is
he's
going
choosing
to
rough
remember,
projects.
no one is going to remember this movie. Like it'll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, Josh, having Rada speak English didn't bother me. I know that was
Really?
point that you brought out in your
Yeah.
review. Right. So the way that I see it, is that first of all, they're not speaking English, right? They're all
They're
speaking
basic,
they're speaking interlac or
It's
basic,
called,
right?
it's called basic, yeah.
Basic, yeah. Interlac is Legion of Superheroes. Yeah, they're all speaking right basic, right? So why wouldn't here's this this young guy that wants to go out and make a name for himself, and even if he gets
Which he says is
trapped
part of
in
his
these
dialogue.
crappy little gladiator, why not? Right? Why not learn the language that's going to help him propel and get his get his name out there and get his destiny moving. So that didn't bother me at all.
What about
of all the
fact that he
things that
spoke in
did bother
exposition?
me, that one that element did not.
His dialogue was so fucking poorly written too. Like, I'm
Yeah,
my own man. When he
yeah,
said,
it
"I'm my
was
own
again,
man,"
yeah.
as
wha-
a jacked hut, my girlfriend looked at me and just went,
Yeah, the dialogue in this movie had a lot to be desired. And also, right, so we mentioned Jeremy Allen White. We mentioned Martin Scorsese. Let's also talk about Sigourney Weaver,
"Yeah,
who does nothing
yeah."
in this movie. You get Sigourney Weaver. Now she is adding Star Wars as another franchise to an already incredible resume that she is in, and you don't give her anything to do.
No.
Although, having said that, I was like, I preferred her more in this than whatever the fuck she does in Avatar.
I love her in Avatar. I will fight you
I-
over that.
the
That's
fact
my
that they-
favorite character in
The
Avatar.
fact that they made her a teenager in Avatar shits me beyond belief.
I remember when I
Just-
first watched
and-
Avatar: Way of Water for the first time, and I was just like, "What the hell is happening here?" It's
I
like-
love that
need-
character in The Way of Water.
We
Oh my
need to
gosh.
put Sigourney Weaver back in Cabin in the Woods and Heartbreakers and have her do just but like again, it's a weird thing for her to accept in like I mean not weird because obviously we know about how
Yeah.
how hard it is for actresses of a certain age to get roles. So it's like it's not weird that she'd accept this, but it's a case of there isn't like there's zero substance here for her. Like it's like she sprouts off. It's all just like go and do this, and then like she disappears for like a whole fucking chunk of the film.
yeah,
She like
she-
pops
yeah.
up at the end, and you're like, cool. Like I'm sure it was the paycheck was worth it because he got that Disney money.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't
And then
blame her.
obviously-
I blame them for not giving her anything to do.
yeah, and
Agreed.
then like it's wild and it makes perfect sense, and I'm glad that they did it. The fact that the two guys that play like the fact that the stunt guy and the
Mhm.
movement guy get really high billing in this is great,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also like that's super fucked that like Pedro Pascal is like top billed and has the most monotonous tone. Like I was like, you seem so bored, and I know that
Well,
that's
that
that's
is the character, though.
but
That
it's
is the
just like
character.
if you're gonna make a whole movie about it, it just becomes like, wow, I'm like not excited to like listen to you speak. And then
that's
they
why-
do rely on Grogu being cute too much in this. Like it got to a point where I was like, okay, yeah, sure, like we get it, but it was just like they feel like they have nothing else to go on. They're just like,
I don't
"Isn't
think
he
they
cute?"
did. I thought this was by far and away the worst Star Wars movie anyway, but the first half of this was so abysmally bad.
It was so
Mm.
brain dead. It was
I-
brain dead.
If I swear to God, if I hadn't told Connor I was writing the review and planned to be on this show, I might have walked out of that movie. It was the first half was so bad, but there's a little back half where the three little engineer puppets
Yes.
hang out with Grogu, and that's the best part of the movie for me. And that was cute and charming.
They were
and
amusing.
You've got actual little puppets. You got practical effects. You don't have this
Yeah.
shitty CG hut
Oh,
wrestling things.
I did like that they went for like physical as much as they could.
It
Yeah, and
And that wasn't great, but it was
No.
something in an abysmal. After such an abysmal first half, it was like I will eat any food you give me that isn't this.
did you find that like the last half hour felt endless?
No, you
Like-
see, that's for me. That's
Oh.
when the movie actually came to life. The last
There
40
was-
minutes.
Okay, so there's that point where they go back to get the fish. That fucking took. I was like, this whole scene can get fucked. Like it was. That scene took so long of him going back and forth to get the fish, and I'm like, I just don't care. Like this can be. We can probably speed this up a little bit, but yeah, it just got to the point where I was like, this feels like this is never going to end. And like, yeah, I suppose like the ending, like the action sequences and stuff sort of move things along. But there was a point where I was like, I feel like I've been in this theater for so much longer than I have, and I'm starting to like reassess like why I'm here.
Life choices.
I was
What
like,
have I
thank
done to
God-
be at
thank
this
God
point?
this was free, is all I can say.
Well, I do have questions based on the trailer. So there's a moment if you're watching the video version of this, it's on this poster, which I do like this poster. But there's this serpent creature that you see. Where does that come into play? Because the CGI in that shot looked really good to me. I thought the
Yeah.
serpent looked nice.
Yeah.
Because like
That's
the
the best looking CGI
AT-ATs like
creature in the
walking
movie.
on like the snow and falling, like in the trailer at least, that looked like not
Yeah.
garbage, but it looked sketchy at best. So I was just wondering, like, where does this snake come into play? Is this like an arena fight? Is it just
No.
something he like comes across?
You remember the original, what is it, Return of the Jedi, when
Rancor.
Jabba has the Rancor in the
Yeah.
Rancor pit? Same principle, except
Yep.
there's a giant snake dragon instead of the Rancor.
It is.
And
It
it
is
does
like,
look good.
yeah, it does look good, and it's like it's part of a sequence that is actually like rather
That's when the
exciting.
movie starts
Yeah.
picking up
Yeah.
pace. That's when the movie starts
Yeah.
showing what it could have been for the first hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It had more intelligent action. It actually did start to have that characterization between Grogu and Din, where you do finally see that father and son bond, or that mentor, and student, role. It just took an hour and 20 minutes to get there.
It made me also think like if because John Favreau's sort of filmography as a director is sort of
Yeah.
goes up and down.
Yep.
Very up and
And it
down.
made
Oh,
me
yeah.
like seeing like the sequence with the serpent, and then there were other sort of a few moments where they tried to build sort of like some tension, especially when they're in like the forest and stuff. It made me think like if John Favreau could sort of be left to his own devices and maybe get out of the Disney system, I'd be like, I think he would make a really good horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
he's
just
done
want him.
Elf and Iron Man 1 and Chef. I'll watch his movies.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
said. Like, I want him
And
to go
Elf,
back
like,
to
Elf
Chef,
is great.
man.
Yeah. Elf,
Like,
I love Elf. Elf is one of my all-time favorite
Yeah.
Christmas
Elf
movies.
is funny.
Super
Yeah.
charming.
I always forget he directed Elf. To be
Yes.
honest.
Yeah.
So it's just like he
I feel like John Favreau
obviously
could make
did.
me direct Elf.
I bet so. So I don't.
We
I
talked
feel
about
like Will Ferrell's
cameos.
the only one
Yeah.
that talks about it.
Who was the Samuel L. Jackson-esque guy who helped Mando
Grogu
and
with the
Grogu?
fish. Yeah.
Yeah. Who was that guy? We don't know.
Oh, I know who you mean. I can't think of
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
know.
surprised it isn't Samuel L. Jackson.
I know. Yeah.
Well, I've heard that the end of the film has like a big, I guess, like there's like a TIE fighter kind of scene where they have to attack something, which is very like typical Star Wars type thing
Yeah.
to just put into your movie. Like, is it very much like a typical blockbuster type ending where it's just like we have to just have the big bad, like we have to get everything and do big shots of
I
CGI
mean, yeah.
explosions, blah blah blah.
The weird thing with that though is the people in the X-wings were like they could have found them in any bowling alley in Middle America.
Well, they brought the one guy back who's been in other episodes. The older guy with the white like goatee or beard. He's been an X-wing pilot in other episodes.
Yeah.
He was the guy
Yeah,
pulled over Mando like to offer him like a speeding ticket or something that one time. So
Yeah. But these are not like top flight.
Oh yeah.
Oh look, I can't wait to see like Han and the Falcon and
yeah. It's
Luke
not like
and
Wedge
the
Antilles.
X-Wing.
That's out there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And Dave Filoni is several times in this movie. Oh, in the wall, the three CGI things I liked were the dragon, the walker did look really good in the
Walker
snow,
looked great. Yeah.
and the wolf was kind of sick looking. But
The
for
wolf
a
was
moment,
cool.
I went, "Oh, cool! They're gonna get a dog. Sweet, they're gonna get a. That's the point of the movie. They're gonna get a dog." And no, that didn't happen.
Oh yeah.
That would have been a fun little
That would
payoff.
have been. I didn't think about that. That would have been really fun.
And
That
then
would
the
have been
next
a
time
nice
we
like
see them,
proper father son thing. Like, I got you a dog.
I got you a dog. That would have been fun.
God damn it, right?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the movie's over 2 hours long, and I've heard that it feels like they kind of stitched together, kind of like Moana 2, kind of stitched together like what originally was planned as a season or a series, and it feels very much like they stitched together episodes to make a feature length film. That's what I've been hearing. Do you agree with that? Does it feel like episodes, like just stitched together to make a blockbuster?
it felt there were moments that it felt episodic. Like there was one, I think there's one moment. It was probably like when there was maybe like 40-ish minutes left, and it did like like, I know that Star Wars loves to do fade outs and fade to black and stuff, but there was a moment where it faded to black, and then I kind of looked at my watch and was like, there's 40 minutes left, and I was like, oh, this 100% feels like this is like the third episode of this sort of structure. Like it did feel at times like I do not know why this was what they decided to put in cinemas.
Mm.
Like
For the first time in
considering
7 years.
yeah. Like I was
Yeah.
like, this is not the way. Like this is not how we put Star Wars back in cinemas with a movie like this. Considering some of the stuff that goes to streaming that you like, really?
Yeah.
Like this is cinematic. This to me feels very, very streaming like quality sort of film. Not that like it looks great on the big screen, and there was some IMAX stuff that happened that I was like, that's really cool. The way that it then went to a bigger screen for some of the fights and stuff. But like, yeah, I think just looking at films that go to streaming and go to cinemas, and when sometimes you can argue, oh, this is definitely a movie that should have gone to cinemas. This feels like something that could have gone to streaming, and it did feel at times like I'm just watching sort of 3 or 4 episodes like put together. That's how I felt with it.
Peter, when you mentioned, the IMAX, scenes, and Josh, this has to be the fourth mention of really nice effects. Coming into and then leaving that Rebel base, I thought was really slick. When Mando first came in and you had the overview of the base,
The beauty
and then
shots.
when he gets into the Razor Crest again and he takes off and you see it from his POV of the base as you're rising up above, and you see like the Quinceanette huts and everything. I thought that was really slick, and it really made me feel like I was in, the cockpit, and harken back to all those great Millennium Falcon shots.
Was there any point to us getting a brand new Razor Crest, though, other than to show beauty shots and sell toys?
No,
Was there any plot reason at
no
all?
plot at all.
to get a
It
brand new-
was, oh, by the way, look what we found for you.
Also, the you talk about the episodic thing. I thought the 30-second YouTube ad that we had to walk up and hit skip screen in it was really distracting.
I am lost on whatever you're talking about there. So maybe it's better. I don't know.
That's I was like, that's for us. That's for us that had to sit through this movie.
Well, is there anything else that like springs to mind that you want to bring up, whether positives, negatives about the Mandalorian and Grogu before we get into just our final kind of thoughts overall? Is there anything else you want to bring to the conversation? Start with Joe. Anything?
I think we mentioned this in passing, but this movie right almost feels like Star Wars cosplay than a grand George Lucas entree. It really feels closer to a Marvel product, right, than it does Star Wars. We talked about, just some of the terrible scripting, just some of the bonehead plot points that this movie has to go through. It really is disappointing. This could have been a really fun, action oriented, Star Wars movie.
Yeah, there were parts that felt fan filmy, and there were parts that felt like, did AI write some of this script? It was so clunky and predictable, and I'm my own man, and like everything Jeremy Allen White said was so poorly written and delivered. He seemed so bored. Yeah, it's shocking that they let this go to the big screen after 7 years of not having Star Wars movies used to feel so special when you walked into a movie theater to watch a Star Wars movie. It was so rare. It was so different. Um, it's shocking that this is what they decided to put out now when the franchise is struggling.
Peter, do you have anything?
Yeah, it just feels like as we sort of said, like it just feels very like focused on like staying in this sort of like little lane and not wanting to go beyond anything when we sort of like we know where this story sort of starts and ends at this point. So it's like you kind of
Yeah.
just let's like ironically let's like go beyond, like you've got this whole galaxy, like we can go other places. And yeah, like it just, yeah, as we said, for waiting 7 years for this, for again, and there were people in the cinema that clearly were fans of the show that absolutely loved this. So, but like then both of you watched the show and weren't fussed on it either. So it's like
Yeah.
it's one of those ones where like if you love it, you love it, great. If you don't, yeah. But one thing that I do want to say like the sound. I thought the soundtrack to this was incredible.
Oh,
Like,
gorgeous.
it had like this like 80s like tone to it. Like I was like when I was sitting there, and I remember like saying out loud to Nick, who was sitting with, I was just like I was like, this soundtrack is great. Like for this kind of movie, this movie doesn't deserve this soundtrack. It is so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this movie doesn't move anything in any direction. Like if this movie doesn't exist, then it doesn't change anything. And yeah, like as we said, it feels very designed to just sell more Baby Yodas and
Yeah.
sell more just merchandise, which it will 100%. But I think, yeah, Baby Yoda will live on longer than this film.
Yeah.
And it sucks that, you know, Pedro Pascal, you know, don't like don't go see this movie. Think Pedro Pascal is going to be in it because he's like see his face for maybe 4 minutes at
But
Yeah.
that's also how it is in the show, you know.
Yeah.
In fact, you didn't see him unmasked until like way late in that
season one.
final episode,
Yeah.
season one.
which
So,
I think which is why I like that they've credited the
the stunt actor, yeah.
his
Mhm.
actual
Agreed.
performance, because you're like, this isn't fair that you're like Pedro Pascal, you're like, no, he sits in a booth, delivers a bunch of lines, and doesn't have to do anything. It's these two other guys that are
Yeah.
doing all the heavy lifting. So I appreciate the fact that they like get like credit billing in the movie, which
Agreed.
is wild.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So, Peter, it was fun during the Fantastic Four movie last year. The scene where they're heading into like Galactus's world ship or whatever,
Yeah.
and they're all in spacesuits, and so it's Pedro Pascal talking, and my son turns to me with a really sarcastic grin and says, "Wow, it sounds like the Mandalorian."
Real quick, I feel like this is an example of a studio learning the wrong lesson. I feel like, The Force Awakens was such a huge box office hit, and then The Last Jedi did what it did and was divisive. And then we had things like The Acolyte that were super divisive. I feel like this is a studio learning the wrong lessons from not the majority of people who like Star Wars, but from the vocal minority of assholes out there that scream whenever a studio takes risks. And then we get this safe thing. We get this super safe, middle of the road, lazy as shit, boring, does nothing to advance anything, but just kills 2 hours in a cold space and sells popcorn and, Pepsi products. Uh, I feel like this is a studio learning the wrong lesson, and I wish they would take some risks again. But they were punished when they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of they're there playing it safe right now, unfortunately, and but I think playing it safe is also not going to help them in the long run.
Yeah.
So we'll see
Doesn't
what
help Marvel.
happens. Yeah, we'll
We
see
also
what
just
happens.
We just need we also just need budgets just to be lower. Like I think that's also the other thing when it's like, well, we can't spend so much money, on something that's risky. I'm like, you don't have to. And like the other movie that's out in the cinemas right now that is proving like, like Obsession went up in its takings. I'm like, there is like obviously, yeah, you can't make Star Wars on a $750,000 budget is like, but you could make a Star Wars movie for probably considerably less than what it's being made for here. And yeah, like it would be nice if if risks were sort of taken a little bit more. But I just don't know if like was the was the critical reaction and like the audience view of Mandalorian, like was it big enough to like apart from Baby Yoda, was like the Mandalorian like a success as a TV show to justify
Yes,
this?
it was
Oh, I
pretty
think
big.
so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty big. Real
Yeah.
quick on your point on the budgets, Predator Badlands, I just looked it up, cost $105 million. That movie looked incredible.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
a great story. It was a great movie. I thought the minute I got out of that, I went, hire this guy to make Star Wars right
yeah.
now.
Or
Agreed.
Dan
He's done
Trachtenberg.
10 Cloverfield Lane and that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's in Prey. That movie looked amazing, and it cost at least half of this.
And you look at something like this is just thing like The Invisible Man that was made for like $6 million, and
Right.
that movie looks insane. So it's like it is possible to make grand things out of like smaller budgets. I just yeah, I and obviously like I think we need to go back to go back to practicality as much as you can, which is why like the when we see the creatures in this that are you know like are puppets, it just brings you like a you just have a more sense of joy in watching it, and
Joy.
it's
Absolutely. It's it. You felt joy
and
when you saw
and it's
that.
like
Yeah.
but then when you see it CGI, like like you see the huts in this, and you're like, okay, but then like when you see them as like the giant like physical puppets that they were in the original film, which is why when they were like we're gonna make the original films like we're gonna update them, you're like you don't have to, like
Right.
we like when they look like
Janky.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I just yeah, it is. It's the case of the wrong message being taken away, and I don't think it's something that Hollywood is going to change anytime soon. Despite the fact that
Agreed.
see so many movies as successes that like are like this is go after this, don't go after this. But anyway,
All right. Well, I think let's just get into our final thoughts as far as the Cinefied scale. We have three ratings. We have a full popcorn, a half popcorn, and a spilled popcorn. Full is a must see in theaters. A half is a maybe see, and a spilled is a mistake, which obviously a mistake. We recommend you don't go see it, but you can feel free to do what you want. All right, Peter, let's start with you. What would you give it on the Cinefied scale?
like this is like it's between like it's between like a half and a spill, because I'm like, I don't want to, I'm not going to yuck someone's yum if you want to go see The Mandalorian, because like there are going to be so many fans of the show that will absolutely love this. And like this is someone who, yeah, I didn't watch the show. So I went into this hoping maybe it'll be like a gateway into it. And there were parts of it that I enjoyed. So, so it's probably leaning maybe more towards a half. But yeah, I think overall it didn't really do a whole lot for me. So it's probably like a spilled in that regard, but I'll give it a half just because there is bits in it that have merit. And it's probably more for people it's designed for people that have seen the show at least. So we'll go with half, even though it's like on that it's going towards a
It's a
spill.
bad movie.
It's a cautious maybe from Peter. All right. Josh, what about you? What are you giving it? I know what you're giving it. No need to say it. It's a full popcorn. We get it. Joe, Josh, what would you
Go
give it?
see it right now. Why are you watching us? What are you doing? Turn this shit off. Go watch this brilliant movie. This is a spilled. It's my least favorite Star Wars movie. I legit wanted to come home and watch episode 9 to watch the bad taste out of my mouth. This was so bad and disappointing. Um, Yeah, I'm sad this is where Star Wars is. I have high hopes actually for Starfighter in December.
I don't know if I
There's
know what
another
that is, to
Star
be
Wars
honest.
movie coming out in December this year, isn't it?
I don't.
Is
Is
that
that
an
never.
actual movie?
Is
I've
that the
never heard of
Gosling
that.
one?
That's the Gosling movie. Am
Oh,
I
yeah.
crazy, or is that coming out
No,
this
like, well,
Christmas?
I know that it's definitely. I'm pretty sure it's being
It
made. I'm
it
sure it
wrapped,
is.
I think, but I don't think it's
Yeah.
coming out this year, Josh. I
Okay,
think it's
next
next year.
May, next summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have high hopes for
That's
that.
still
I
way
think that's going to
closer.
be good.
Yeah, no, okay. Well, sorry, Joe. Don't want to stop you from giving your rating. But who's directing this Starfighter?
Sean Levy.
Okay, who? Okay, so the
The
guy
last thing he
behind
did was
the Nine
Deadpool and
Museums.
Wolverine.
So, yeah. Oh yeah, he did Deadpool. Yep.
He's been
Yep.
up and down, but his
Stranger
ups are good.
Things.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
right. Lots and lots of Stranger Things. So yeah, I think that I have
Free
high hopes for
Guy.
that one.
Oh yeah, Free Guy. I don't mind Free Guy. Free Guy's pretty
I
good.
don't
don't
mind.
either.
I don't mind Free Guy. I know that now
Yeah.
we're like, ugh, Ryan Reynolds in anything is like gross, but like,
Well,
eh.
Ryan Reynolds in anything is just him doing a Deadpool. It's like his
Right.
entire career is just him auditioning to be Deadpool, and then when he got it, he's just like, I can just keep doing that. So
Yeah,
Now it's him like, you guys don't like my wife. Do you still like me?
yeah, I mean, yeah. Who knows? So I haven't seen him in anything recent. So, all right, Joe. What would you give it on the Cinefied scale?
I'm giving it a maybe. Right, this movie could have been great. It's a family-friendly space adventure, but it trades its early Western roots into becoming that broader blockbuster crowd pleaser. It has moments of charm. We talked about the craftsmanship, from the practical effects to some really slick digital effects. But the danger, the mystique, the sense that this could evolve into truly something mythic. Unfortunately, that's all been left stranded somewhere out in the Dune Sea.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I think that does it for us here. Any last words? If not, that's all right. 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, that ends it. This has been us talking. Well, not me, but the rest of them talking about Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu. It seems very much a probably wait for it to be streaming type movie at the very max. And grab a drink, grab some popcorn, go watch whatever movie you want to watch that's not The Mandalorian and Grogu, and we'll see you on the next Cinefied podcast. See you later. Bye.